She left me not knowing what to do. Carefree highway.
Our guest is Steve Lightfoot with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Steve, do you know who that is singing?
A distant relative, I hope. He leaves me in his good stead.
Very well played.
Thank you.
Is the Lightfoot American Indian?
It is.
What tribe?
Cherokee.
What percentage? And don't lie. Everybody lies.
My maternal grandmother was full blood.
Full blood?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. So you know what that made your mother, according to Cher, not me.
Yeah. Well, it did.
I was worried I wouldn't be able to make you laugh. I'm happy now.
I'm glad to make your day. What can we talk about, my friend?
You're such a serious fella.
Oh man, there's so much serious stuff going on in the world. I wish we could. I wish we had some more levity, but unfortunately, the times are what they are.
Let's talk deer scat in Medina County.
Okay.
What's going on?
Well, we're looking into a positive of chronic wasting disease we found in a captive deer facility. Deer.
You just found one?
Just found one. We're beginning an epidemiological investigation to kind of find out what the extent of that disease might be within that facility, and then move from there toward other facilities that might have had direct contact, either bringing deer in or taking deer out of that facility.
How contagious is this?
Well, we know it spreads nose to nose pretty much through bodily fluids with deer. We know that the incubation period can be a number of years, so it's not something that's going to spread overnight or show up overnight. But once it's there, it's not something that can be eradicated. It's just something that we're going to have to manage and deal with and continually assess risk.
And there's no vaccine or anything like that for this?
No vaccine. No live test that's been blessed by the scientific community right now, so any testing we do has to be post-mortem.
That's after they die, Ramon.
Yep.
So have there been populations in other states that have been heavily hit by this? I mean, how bad has this chronic waste been in the past?
Without going into a deep history lesson, about half the states in the country have C.W.D. I think 23, something like that. That's close to the old half. It was first documented in Oklahoma, 40-something years ago. So it's nothing new. I think Wisconsin is probably most noted for, taking, extreme steps to deal with it. We had it first in Texas a couple of years ago. It was found in some mule deer up in some remote parts of the Waco Mountains, and that's on the New Mexico border for geography buffs. But that's an isolated area. Hasn't really moved out of there, but we continue to monitor it and and watch for it and take samples to make sure. And we found a handful of samples in the year since, but nothing alarming because there's not a large number of deer up there to begin with.
How is it every year you get a chronic waste disease case confirmed, or how often does this happen?
Well, this is the first time we've found it in whitetail deer in Texas, and the first time we found it in deer held in captivity in a deer breeding facility. So this is our maiden voyage investigating this type of scenario.
I mean, I'm not the most advanced in the study of deer, but how does a deer kept in captivity end up with it? I mean, does that mean one was introduced from the wild, or how does that happen?
Well, that's what we hope to find out. The assumption is that it was transferred laterally from one deer in that facility to this deer. This particular deer was a 2-year-old buck who was born in that facility, never left the pen, so the only contact it had were with, other cohorts or, other deer that were in that pen with it, and its mother or the dam that nursed it. There is, speculation that it could have come in through contact with a bale of alfalfa, or it could be spontaneous, but those are minute percentage. I'm not an epidemiologist, but they say that the likelihood that those were the causes are pretty rare. So what they're looking at now is that index herd in that facility to try to trace out and find out where else it might be, what the prevalence might be within that herd. And once they get a handle on that, then they can determine where do we go next. Well, we know which facilities have bought deer from this particular facility that may have had contact with that deer that was infected, or those deer that may have been infected. We know what facilities have shipped deer into this facility. So that would be the next steps.
Steve Lightfoot is with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. I got 2 minutes left. Can we talk alligators in Orange real quick?
Absolutely.
So the alligator that killed the 28-year-old man in Orange, the next morning the guy shot and killed that alligator?
That's the chain of events as we understand it. I mean, we first got the call that there'd been an alligator attack. This gentleman was missing, 28-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri, down on Adams Bayou, which is just off the Sabine River, about 30 miles east of Beaumont. And our game wardens responded. They recovered the body, had evidence that it had been attacked by an alligator. The autopsy found he drowned. Then we started looking for the alligator. Our game warden searched that bayou night and day for the next 3 days over the 4th of July. It found nothing. Then come Monday, the alligator shows up dead on the bank there at the marina, and it turns out it was the one that was involved. We found the guy that shot it. He admitted to it, and two wrongs don't make a right. But at this point, a warning citation is about the extent of our what we've decided to do.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
So it's confirmed that's an 11-footer, right?
That's an 11-footer.
And it's confirmed that that's the one that killed Tommy Woodward?
Right. And had we found it first, the same result. It would have had to have been killed because of its aggressive behavior. So, case closed.
Oh, is that what happens in those cases?
Yeah. Anytime you've got a nuisance alligator, and this is why we don't want people feeding alligators or messing with them, because when they lose fear of humans, they start doing stuff like this when people get in the water. Yeah.
It's the first time in a long time.
First time that we know of that, there's been a fatality from an alligator attack in Texas, so knock on wood.
There you go. Steve Lightfoot, Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Thanks for being our guest, sir.
Enjoyed it, Mike.
All right. He said enjoyed it. Do you think he really enjoyed it? I think he'd be a good guy to have a drink with. I think he would tell good, funny jokes. Like kind of double entendre jokes. Don't you? Plus, he got the Lightfoot reference so cleverly. That's good. I like him. Put him on the speed dial. We'll just call him up randomly.